transition well on their attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to look forward to from the side of E1 Sports. They need to make that improvement if they want to take this all the way to the decider, which will be Bank. But enough from us. Let's see what our casters have to say. They just had the great opportunity to cast the first map. So Ollie and Intero, based off of the fact that we're going to be going to Cafe, how are you feeling about your prediction, Intero?
I mean, I don't feel super great about E1 obviously winning after that first map, but I will say the fact that E1 was at least able to take all but one round needed to win map 1, I feel a little bit confident, but Black Dragons picked things up after a strong start from E1. Maybe they continue that momentum here on Cafe.
I'm really disappointed Ginny didn't ask me what I felt about my prediction.
She doesn't care what you think, actually.
No, I'm sat here thinking, I'm sat here feeling quite smug, to be fair. No one cares.
It's your chance, Ginny, to ask him.
Do you think about your prediction, Ollie?
There we go.
Thank you very much for asking, Ginny. I'm feeling very smug about my prediction. I think that Black Dragons take the whole thing. Although I don't think that they're going to win Cafe. I think we're going to go to all 3 maps, to be honest with you. I have just got a feeling about this one.
I agree. And now it's just up to us. The hosts are gone. They've left us to run the whole thing. Monty, Ying, Azami, and Solus. There we go. Those are the bands that we're used to seeing. Nothing really outside the ordinary. Those are the foremost band operators. They will not be available. I assume that if we need a shield operator, we will likely see a blitz pop up.
Ideally, hopefully, we don't see a shield operator, as that wasn't something that worked too well for either of these 2 teams when they brought it on Oregon. That's not necessarily a criticism of the blitz or the person that picks it, as much as the team play that goes in around that. Speaking of team play, Black Dragons and E1 both demonstrated themselves quite well on Oregon. It wasn't necessarily an Oregon that went all the way because of a great deal of mistakes from either side. Moreover, it was an Oregon that went all the way because of the team play from either side and the opportunity spotting and advantage taking that both of those sides did. So hopefully as we move into Cafe, we expect to see a little bit more of that here. Now, CDAP's brought it up on the desk that Black Dragons have shied away from Cafe, is maybe a lighter way of putting it. They really don't like this map or picking it. So for it to be played here and for it to be E1's pick makes quite a lot of sense. Let's put Black Dragons somewhere that they are potentially quite uncomfortable and pile on the pressure. But what a start here! Goodness me, Astro sent into next week. One of the difficult things, of course, about Cafe is that free passage to the building is not guaranteed. You have to fight for that as soon as you get yourself out of spawn, and well, Sexy Cakey's going to be fighting himself up these white stairs here, but he too shall eventually be taken out there by Stemp. Black Dragons, they might not play this map often, but they're certainly not doing a bad job of things here. They've picked themselves up 3, make it 4. Could we be about to see a flawless round here as Raps is going to make himself a nice little pocket here on these white stairs? I would wager his location is known and that Stemp with a shotgun isn't something that you want to be challenging with a DMR. Don't throw the flawless round away, Stemp. Please close it down now. No, traded for the kill in the end. It's going to be Ask that finishes things off. I wasn't expecting Cafe to be as explosive as that, Parker. I'll be honest with you.
No, I wasn't either. I mean, I don't know if E1's initial presumption was we can hit the site hard and fast, let's do that, or if after suffering the first casualty, they said, course correction, let's just YOLO it. But I mean, Loira really does set the pace here. That is one hell of a shot on Astro, and something where, yeah, I mean, I don't really think the Wamai of Loira was in any significant danger exposing himself through the window that way. But additionally, you don't usually get that kill. Yeah, you'll break the panel, go for a couple shots, you might miss, you scamper off. Both teams walk away, no worse for wear. Not the case for E1, certainly. Losing Astro, losing the Ash, And frankly, Ash is a fascinating operator right now with where we are, because we're so used to seeing Ash as this 3-speed who gets in, gets picks, and yeah, that will set the pacing for you. This particular instance in the meta, Ash is honestly more of a utility operator for a lot of these teams. Breaches are used deliberately. The explosives are so high value for the attackers that losing an Ash early on can frankly be a bulletproof camera and a soft wall that will no longer be taken out on your side of things. If you've got a castle on the board, which we can see Stemp running the castle in this particular round, an Ash in the hands of Sexy Cake, that's 2 castle barricades. That's immense value for that gadget. So not just that you lose Astro, it's what comes with losing the Ash as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was the whole reason that Sexy Cake had to push up White Stairs, because they lost the Astro. They couldn't deal with the castle barricades, and they needed an in from elsewhere. So a lot more caution is being paid this time. But of course, the greatest thing about the first round spawn peak is you're only going to do it in the first round. You're not necessarily going to do that every single round. You just want to get into your opponent's head nice and early and say, yeah, you spend that extra 15, 20 seconds checking the windows. Be a little bit more concerned running out of spawn, because you saw what happened in round number 1. And it does often work where the attackers will just have a little bit of that pace knocked out of the early round. And they will pay a great deal more attention to those windows, and potentially at this point in the round, the runouts, because you've got 3 people on the rappel. However, Black Dragons, you can just sort of relax into that and know that, you know, we've slowed them down a little bit. If they start getting a bit quick, we'll do it again.
Well, with a cocktail take, you want to get Piano as quickly as humanly possible. Already half the round is gone, and in comes a Rotero drone. Don't know what Live was hoping for there. At least 1 pick. There's some serious damage. Oh my, come on, Dodez. And Sexy Cake goes as well. Any speculation that Black Dragons might be uncomfortable on this map should have fallen away after those 2 rounds. Stemp will hear that DMR used by Blackbeard primarily, but hey, Astro's going to go with the DMR and the AR-33. Well, would. Now Lawyer's punished him, and up to Rakid to clutch out the remaining 50 seconds with only Patoxy removed from Black Dragons. Stemp gets wrapped.
Oh my.
This is quite a tough attack for E1 so far.
It's hard to watch. I'm gonna be honest, this is difficult to watch right now. We've got people double dipping at bottom White Stairs run out. The double dip. That's not something you're meant to get away with. You need to get domed on the second time that you poke your head out of there. E1, they're approaching this in a very soft manner. I would like to see them input a little bit of aggression here and get themselves on that roof, get themselves safe in the early part of the round, or set up some more effective means of keeping themselves safe, either on the rappels or later on when they're starting to think about dropping hatches, because you can't die to the guy that stood inside of Cigar. You can't let 2 people die to that. You can't have someone dying because someone ran out of bottom white twice. Like, these are pretty unforgivable mistakes at this level. Black Dragons are making light work so far. They got the first round on Oregon, granted, and then proceeded to battle for equal or be down for the whole round right until the end. This time they seem to be chaining them together. If they pick this one up, it starts to spell alarm bells for E1, especially given that they are the team that are known to struggle with attacks.
I mean, this isn't necessarily the start that I anticipated at all. I don't think you anticipated it either. E1 have blown up their composition, bring a Gridlock, Zofia, a Brava, all 3 of whom are not exactly meta operators. That said, they very much have a place on this map, especially Gridlock. You're going to want some form of anti-flanker due to the stairwells, due to the narrow corridors that defenders will often need for retakes. I mean, 1-track Stinger can cover quite a lot of a staircase. And I mean, Sexy Cake's got 4 of them. That might slow you down a little bit, but the defenders are going to need to shoot through it or melee it, which will in turn give information through sound to the remaining defenders. And already E1 looking for this fast pace. Once more, we're not even a minute into the round. Astro coming to blows with the defenders of Black Dragons.
Ask is on the hunt at the moment for a Bravo drone. Dudes going to be doing battle on the rappel. Black Dragon's doing a fantastic job of just holding E1 at bay here. E1 are, of course, going to be setting themselves up here. And they would probably like something that could be that big entrance for them, like a Ying. But, of course, Ying is in a state where it is banned nearly all the time. So instead, they will look to things like the Zephyr, things like the Gridlock. Live, it's a good portion of damage there in onto Lucan, but Lucan actually goes for the plant. Now Ask was hanging around just inside a museum. No way this plant goes down unchallenged. Kills fly, but the plant is confirmed and will likely be held here from the Rebel. Patopsy goes for it, but gets claymored out of nowhere. We got Stemp outside of the bottom of Bakery. He'll find his way back into the building. What's he going to be able to do in this retake? 25 seconds on the clock, 2 kills to find, and still quite a ways to go. Vertical now being held from above, but it's going to be Dudes who shut him down as he transitions through reading. That was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way of putting it. A lot of these rounds have been a mess. I gotta give some praise to E1 for the fact that they were so quick to get in, but therein lies the problem with that mining bomb site. For the defenders, that is, if you can get in as an attacker, you have that wheel well as protection. And you can see it right there on your screen. Ask needs to get to the other side of that bomb site. How is he going to do it? Well, he has to run himself. If he's not running himself, you need to know a gas canister, maybe a yokai drone, something to knock that planter out of that position. There were no tools there whatsoever from Black Dragons. So you have to take the engagement. But if you've got somebody on the stairs watching you, that's red stairs control for the attackers. You've got somebody on the window as well. And red stairs control could be coming from the top floor, or it could be coming from the bottom floor. It doesn't matter. As long as you have that part of red stairs under your control, you got a great angle where the only way conceivably that the defenders are going to win that is getting a pick and then rushing the planter. But E1 doubled up on that. They had somebody on the window. They had somebody on red stairs. Yeah, not an easy task for the defenders at all. And I mean, if you're not bringing any anti-plant, you're going to be in trouble. Now, if you look at the lineup for Black Dragons, they're not going to be bringing a smoke whatsoever, but they've got 2 nitro cells at their disposal. That's about it to stop the plant. No Maestro, no Yokais, no smoke. So you're going to hope that those explosive C4s can hit their marks. And I mean, one of them in the hands of Stemp, who will gamble his life very early on. Patoxy will find himself same position that Loira was in earlier to go for an early pick, but everybody survived the first 30 seconds. And I suppose for E1, that's a pretty good state of affairs.
Not bad at all. There is some good information available for E1 as well. They've got a couple of these defenders on drone. And they're probably just thinking about lining up a few nades here to see if they can get themselves through. They've got a bit of burn to go through. Obviously, we're dealing with a WAMI. There's going to be some magnets above that double bakery door. C4 is going to get thrown out there pretty prematurely, in my opinion. You're going to want to try and hold on to that for a little bit longer, especially given that E1 have now shown that they maybe want to play a little bit more plant focused here than they did over on Oregon.
Sexy Cake will go for the drop now with the logic bomb ringing out. You've got to tackle that top floor first. So E1 have gone on stairs and, well, very briskly, it looks like they've actually done it. And now the second floor as well. News for E1, Black Dragons are really not holding on to that second floor as much as you'd expect. It's a very linear defense at the moment. The silhouettes all down on that first floor, seemingly down on that first floor. I mean, sometimes the silhouettes can betray us.
You ever been betrayed by a C4?
One time when I was still learning the game, I thought that in PvP, very similar to terrorist hunt. C4s were remote activated. Were proximity activated. So I threw a C4 onto the doorway expecting it to kill somebody without me having to activate it. And that happened. Hold on a second here. Black Dragons are just feasting upon E1. As Astro and Luca are the last two alive, and through the 3 rounds of action, neither of them have been able to find a kill for E1. That's a damning prospect. A flawless round for Black Dragons, very much on the board, unless Astro can stop it. He does. Down goes Loira, goes fishing for more kills now towards Whiskey as he's trapped inside a delivery. We're just going to keep peeking him. I mean, why? At this point, just wait. You need to narrow down his HP, I suppose, but you've just given Astro 2 kills for nothing. No reason to do that. Wait and let him swing you. He has no intel. There's no utility. Obviously, a lot of pride on the faces of those in the crowd for Black Dragons. 3-1 the scoreline for BD.
Timeout from E1. Recognizing things aren't probably going to plan here. Given, of course, this is their map choice, it's only fair that we remind everybody that. E1 led for the majority of Oregon, which was Black Dragon's choice, and we certainly made a point of making that known here. E1 are trailing on their own map, and they felt it's time to bring that tactical timeout. Black Dragons have got a really good handle so far of controlling the space here on Cafe. And that's somewhere that they have shone particularly well. The information game is definitely there for E1 as well. They had a lot of drone game going on in that round. I commented on it at the start of the round, and still during the round, they had good intel. But allowing someone like Loira to pick up 3 kills inside a Christmas room, it doesn't make too much sense. Picks himself up 1, catches 1 on the drop as well. Correction, he got himself 2. But he still was able to pick himself 1 as they dropped on into sight. There was a big 3-2-1 that was attempted there by E1. And it just all sort of fell around that single point.
I mean, these teams are definitely playing outside of their comfort zones. This is a seeding match, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. I apologize for the viewers that think I'm trying to make you not care about this match. You should care about this match. You should care about where that bulletproof camera is. That's kind of a sneaky spot underneath the Christmas tree inside a piano. One of the big changes to bulletproof cameras to make them more viable is that those that might not have played the game themselves in, I don't know, a couple patches now, bulletproof cameras don't just stare in a single direction anymore. You can now actually move them. So whereas before you might look at that and go, well, that camera's useless. It's just going to stare straight up at the ceiling, and what effect is it going to have? No, my friends. That thing can now rotate and can look around. So you're going to get a value off of that. It's in a bit of a cheeky spot. I do like that setup from Black Dragons. Back to the point that I was making. This is a seeding match. So it's not hell for E1 or Black Dragons if they lose. I mean, obviously they're taking this very seriously because it is a game day rep. Both of them need to prepare for the last chance qualifiers. There will be some good teams in the LCQ. Team Liquid is going to be down there. MIBR is already down there. Both of these teams will be competing in the LCQ. And then of the 4 remaining teams, Vivo, Keydstars, W7M, FaZe, and NiP, one of those teams will go down to the LCQ as well, where a single spot will be available. So yeah, if you're a newer team that's trying to get your game day reps in, this is a great opportunity to do that. Not just because of where it puts you in the LCQ seating, but just because a match is a match. And it's always nice to gain that experience.
Especially when that experience is on LAN in quite a personal venue. It's very, you're in a very close proximity to your opponent there. And it's got a little bit of a crowd going. Granted, it's all going to be people that you probably at least know or know roughly who they are. It's not like you're talking about a random crowd of just fans. But it still gives you that experience. And I think that in itself is very important. And like you say, when it's teams that are trying to build that synergy that maybe individually are successful or have been to majors or have competed at a high level, but haven't necessarily done it as a team, it's nice that they do get the opportunity to do that. Toxi, he's going to be in the hot seat here as the Warden.
Look at this. It's a glass.
It's a glass in the smoke. And Patoxy as the Warden has been taken out. So both players there that you would look toward and say, they're in the hot seat. Maybe not so much anymore.
Looked like Sexy Cake was going to be able to do something, but again, I will say it is a bit frustrating to see this resurgence, the renaissance of Sexy Cake kind of fall a bit short. All of E1 is falling short there. Black Dragons, 4 rounds through 5. Looking mighty good here on Cafe.
Maybe, just maybe, there is a world where we don't see all 3 maps today. And maybe, just maybe, there is a world where Black Dragons just win their opponent's map pick.
Yep.
4 rounds to 1. It's starting to look a little bit dicey here. You're looking at E1 and thinking, have you got some sort of a reverse sweep in you at this point? I'm not too sure on the strats that they were employing in this particular round. I think a Glaz crouch walking on long bar is not ideal to say the least, especially when you have tools like the Warden available. Neither of it really mattered in the end. It was the teammates around each of those players that had the action and the part to play. But Black Dragons seemingly not able to put a foot wrong so far. They can come away with a 5-1 split. Things look a bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, there's a theory here, right? LFO get picked up by E1, or at least most of LFO get picked up by E1. You've got experienced players on the team. Good Raps, Astro, Sexy Cake, Dotas. They've been around for a while for the most part. These players like Astro and Sexy Cake have been around for half a decade at this point. Sexy Cake's first championship came in Atlantic City, if you'll recall, which was the spring of 2018, which was 5.5 years ago.
Ew, I don't want to think about that, because I can very vividly remember what I was doing.
Yeah. Astro obviously playing on these teams back before FaZe Clan got picked up. Back then they were known as Font Energy. People who might recall. And he's been around for a while too. I mean, he was retired. As far as I read, Astro had effectively retired and came back out of the retirement home. And well, I don't know if there's just more rust that Astro needs to shake off, but on the roles that he's playing, we had to listen to it. Which is honestly great for the Brazilian broadcast, but for us it does us no good as none of us speak Portuguese. We are the English rebroadcast of the Brazilian broadcast, so if you want to go hear what it sounds like in Portuguese, you're welcome to do that. Not that we want you to stop listening, but you're not going to hear the call-outs and listen-ins in English.
Yeah, we didn't quite get to the point of translating too much. I can read a little bit of it, given that I know what it says in the English version of the game. Like, Rodada 6 means round 6. That's about as far as I can go.
Presumably Terrace. I know that much.
Yeah. Casino is kitchen, I can tell you that.
I'm not sure. Black Dragons, though, surrendering 1 player more than E1 at this point. Sexy Cake going out in the first half, 0-6. Good intel gain from Patoxy's Yokai. Knows the drop is going to come from this main hatch. And from this highlight. So he prepares himself for it. Oh no! Black Dragons equalized, though. A lot of life left in them. E1, though, an advantage. Moira will need to clutch. And Astro, whose name was Devour Tongues, is the hero of that round. E1 escaped with the best result possible at this point in time. Just 2 rounds on attack. Now Black Dragons will presumably have the harder side to deal with.
It can be a tricky map to attack onto, King Cafe. It requires a lot of coordination. We saw a great demonstration of one of the main reasons why it can be a trickier map in the first round of this map, and that's because of spawn peaks and very aggressive plays being there for the taking, essentially, for all the defenders. So you've got that going against you as an attacker. It can take you 20 seconds or so to get to the building in some cases, sometimes a little bit longer if you want to get onto the roof, which is a typical point for at least one person to enter each round. So there are downsides to the attack here on Cafe, and I think E1 really sort of demonstrated that quite nicely to us. Black Dragons now, they have got the comfort of a couple of round buffer. E1 certainly turned it on when it mattered the most. They did use their timeout in that phase as well. Black Dragons still have theirs in their pocket. So provided how the next couple go, we may or may not see that come out at some point just to see if they can gain back a little bit of an edge and a little bit of a reset.
No, resets place for Team Liquid.
Great, good one.
Thank you.
I was thinking about it earlier. I was thinking about the first game. I remember watching Ask and Resets play for Liquid. And if memory serves, it was on... Well, I know it was definitely on Coastline. And I think it was against FaZe. And Ask went crazy. And it's just so nice to see him still play. You know, move out of that Liquid squad. Obviously, things weren't working out there. But then to come inside of Black Dragons and to still be able to put up, you know, decent numbers. Considering he's a support player. I don't know what it is. I just really rate him.
Lucan is downed. From where the action happened, he was looking out onto that terrace/balcony window, but that's just speculation on our
Rapel aí, vou
part.
puxar rapel 1 pra você, tá?
Another listen in. A language we don't understand. You speak any languages other than English, by the way?
No, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I don't.
I'm an Anglophone too, so I mean, I'm just used to the old joke. It's like, what do you call somebody who speaks one language?
English.
An American, but I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Same horse, really.
I don't know how the Brits get out of that. I mean, maybe it's because you might speak like what is the language in Scotland that's spoken every now and then. What, Celtic? You've got Gaelic. You've got Welsh.
Yeah, Celtic, Gaelic, Welsh. Yeah.
I refuse to believe that Welsh is a real language. But that's just a conversation for another day. I think it's just a very elaborate joke.
Hit me with your elaborate joke.
Well, I just think, like I said, it's just, I think that Welsh is an elaborate joke. I think it's a language that,
yeah, for sure.
I think it was just made up to make fun of English people, or at least to confuse English people.
You want to try playing Scrabble with Welsh people?
Are their boards big enough?
They are quite huge, yeah.
I feel like I get away with saying these things because I have more family in Scotland than I do in Canada. And therefore, an adopted Brit.
That's surely not how this works, but okay.
Well, they adopted my country, so...
Oh, so you're just going to adopt back. Fair enough.
I think it is really fair. And we're talking now because there isn't really a lot happening. Would you believe it's the final 30 seconds of the round?
No.
And there's a
This round has flown by.
botched flashes as now Live walks in. Killing begins. Black Dragon striking first and second. Sexy Cake finally on the board, though not officially credited with the kills. It was just a confirmation on a down. Live getting the diffuser, but there's some damage being done through the wall. Sexy Cake rebuffed. Live needs to attempt again. There's Astro to stop him in his tracks. Nobody will be able to get to the diffuser. A blunder of epic proportions from Black Dragons as E1 wins the round.
Plant going down in that position without sufficient... Astro literally just ran through the double door right next to him. Bit of an oversight, I think, from Black Dragon's part. Maybe they didn't realize it was the final 30 seconds of the round, Parker. Because they didn't look like they were ready for that round. We've not seen Black Dragons attempt the defuse... Well, sorry, we saw it once on Oregon in round 2. And it didn't work out for them there either. This hasn't been a plant-focused game of Siege.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they're trying to bring it out now. I know that Cafe is a map that you try and plant on because it's got exceptionally strong post plants for attackers, but you've still got to get it down. And yeah, that it wasn't happening there, I'm afraid, for Black Dragons. E1 were far too well positioned, and we speak about Astro. Maybe he's got a bit of rust on him, but he still knows how to play that game. He still knows when the plant is going down, the right time to make that push, what the ultimate win condition there is for that round.
Yeah, I am enjoying this back and forth. E1 have now drawn within a single round, and again, that realistically, and I hate to be this guy, but I don't think that was a very well-deserved round from E1. I think Black Dragons just had nobody watching live whatsoever, and again, really speaks to the deficiencies that come with a new, right?
Yeah, for sure. You've got that breakdown in communication. And maybe it's not even a breakdown in communication. Maybe it's just as simple as things not being as understood as quickly as they will be in the future. You know, whether that's plant position or thinking that somebody has got your cover from a certain angle when potentially they don't yet, or they're not yet in position. It's going to be something as small as that, really, because, you know, these players know not to plant in dumb places. They're planting there because they think they're being covered, or there is really no other choice. Although there was limited time left on the clock, there was enough to make a decision on where you're going to try and get that diffuser down. I don't think it'll knock Black Dragons too much. They can't really be expecting to come in here and just walk away with it, especially given that it is E1's choice.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the initial 4-2 for Black Dragons on defense was a surprise, just as I felt the same about E1's 4-2 on Oregon. You know, when it was 5-2, in fact, I thought, which way is this match going to ultimately end up going? Anywho. Downstairs defense. Necessary steps taken on these top floors, and really there's not a huge extension of E1's roam at the moment. Allows Black Dragons carte blanche. That's French.
You said you only spoke English.
I'd still say, I mean, I swear a lot, so I guess I do speak French.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. It's when people say, pardon my French, and it's like, oh, no, I'm fluent. Really? No, I just swear a lot. I have a good story to tell about the English versus the Scottish, but maybe not when there's a minute left in round number 8.
I'm sure we got time later on today.
Oh, absolutely. Just a cheeky little anecdote. Sexy Cake still searching for his first kill. I don't know when it will emerge, but he plays roles where you expect him to get kills. So at a very basic sense, he needs to be getting on the board more often than not. Astro just got turned into a default cam. You see that? He was shooting and then all of a sudden, he's gone.
Unfortunate.
Flop looking for kill number 1. It's Loira. This is a sleepy round, my friend. Black Dragons will find themselves in the exact same predicament if they just take way too long. They've got the advantage, but things are going exactly the same in terms of kills. Dodes to the rescue as he gets off the site and will now come face to face with Patoxy on red stairs. Dodes traded out effortlessly, though. And while Black Dragons manage the clock a little bit better, they get the necessary kills. This really could be a 6-2 game for Black Dragons if anybody had watched live in the previous round. Was not to be the case. They forfeited that one, but they don't make the same mistake again. And with their 5th round, they inch ever closer to putting this one away 2-0. They, Black Dragons, will call the timeout, which is intriguing because usually the team that's on the ropes that does it.
I have really strong feelings about timeouts when you've just won a round or you are in that position of, call it a little bit of momentum, because they didn't get absolutely stomped in the previous round that they lost, albeit they did a great job of clearing up in the final few seconds here in the previous round we've just seen. It wasn't all too clear. So maybe this isn't the worst time in the world to take the timeout and maybe just say, look, I know that you're trying to play with the clock. I know that you want to try and use as much of the round as possible, but we can't be leaving it to the final 10 seconds. Maybe we got a little bit lucky there. Maybe we need to try and, guarantee things a touch more, because it can go either way when the clock is seriously final 10 and you're scrambling trying to find gunfights and just desperately trying to trade out. So especially when you do, sort of, a long-standing roster that's been together for years and years that can pull that sort of thing away. There are plenty of teams out there across the world that can pull off very, very intricate moves with very little time left on the clock. Maybe Black Dragons aren't quite there just yet, and that's where we saw them struggle in round number 7. But they do lead 5-3 now. And after having that bit of time out, they probably had a good idea of where they were going to go. So maybe, just maybe, they can put themselves onto a map and series point here. But you want to bring in a bunch of tricks to try and slow that down. We're actually going to see the Echo. Now, we saw this previously, Parker, and the Yokai was used, and it was sent out onto the roof. It was sent through the skylight hatch. It gave a good bit of information. I think it was used in conjunction with the Warden, potentially, when we had a little bit of glass action earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, the glass experiment did not work well. That was Sexy Cake who was playing that operator. Now, back on Valkyrie again. I like the tools being brought by E1. I do like seeing the Thorn, I will say. As much as I have a personal vendetta against 1.5 sites, I would argue that they should just be removed from the game entirely, but that's just me. That's just me. I don't want to piss off the people. I don't know if you saw that. That thread going around is, oh, hold on a second. There's a run out. 2 runouts, actually. E1 break out of this cafe map as if it's a clown car, and well, clown emoji indeed, but for E1.
See, that's just not how you do it. You want to, if you want to play aggressive, but don't be throwing yourself like that at the problem, because this is a round that you can pretty seriously and confidently chalk up for Black Dragons. They've got 2 minutes left, 5 versus 3. Just take your time. Yeah, you've got 2 C4s to go through. You've got plenty of drone information available to you, and they've only lost 3 drones so far, so they're doing fantastic in that economy. Make it 4. I do believe they just lost another, but still, they've got so much time to work with here. Just use the numbers advantage that you've been gifted.
Yeah, and you'll see teams almost overcorrect, right? Where it's like they'll lose 2 and then suddenly they'll start swinging to try to keep numbers close, which is usually the right play. But if you let the bomb site do the work for you, you can be a bit more passive. Same goes for when you have an advantage. Oh, we've got 2 picks. Okay, everybody rush, everybody rush, everybody rush, and then all of you die. I like that E1 is listening to your advice right now. You know, they're playing very standard. Sexy Cake got on the board. Hold on. He knew Sexy Cake got a kill. Black Dragons win the round, and they move to series point, though. But at least he's got 1.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall there as soon as you see an Echo running out of Cocktail. Echo jumping out a Cocktail window isn't a great sign. When you're going to bring that Echo for utility, I commented on how, you know, Yokai Drone, fantastic piece of utility for that site and for the map in general. You can send it out up through one of the skylights, through one of the hatches. You can get a bit of information. You've got the ability to deny a plant if you think that's where it's going, and Black Dragons certainly attempted to get the plant down in round number 7. So you give yourself an extra pair of eyes, and all of it just gets sort of thrown away in the first few seconds because, yes, jumping out of windows will be punished at this level. 6-3, map and series point, more importantly, here for Black Dragons. They're looking to make this map 2 certainly quicker than map number 1 was at an 8-7 scoreline, but it isn't over yet. E1, they have a chance. They're going to go down to the bakery, see if they can hang on in there.
Ah! That's not the name of the bomb site.
Well, okay, kitchen.
And?
Service?
Kitchen and kitchen.
Kitchen and kitchen. I mean, it's...
This is a reoccurring joke that we do, by the way.
The camera was in the bakery at the time, okay?
I approach it in the same way. I don't know how much you watch and how much you, more importantly, listen, but whenever Nick and I are casting Cafe, we always refer to it as bakery, and then usually at least once a matchup, we have to stop ourselves. All right, well, technically it's kitchen because they changed it around, but we're both old and blah, 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 blah. So the fact that I heard you say bakery actually excites me very much because, you know, one of us. But we are technically wrong. I just thought it'd be fun to razz you over it, as we've done in the past with other casters.
Thanks for. I feel like I'm part of a club now.
You know, people say, "Oh my God, these casters don't like each other. They make fun of each other so much." get some friends, because if you have friends, you make fun of them, because that's what friends do. If I didn't like somebody, I wouldn't be talking to them. Oh, not just one kill, but now two. Sexy K got the last kill in the previous round. I thought that that grenade had actually bounced and Live was about to land on top of it. I don't know if you saw that visual.
Would have been unfortunate. It
It
looks
was
as though it could have
hilarious.
happened.
Why? You want to have the advantage. They lose it. Sexy Cake spent a little bit too long around reading. Hold on, Dotas is in hot pursuit. Down goes Stem. They didn't expect two of them. They probably didn't even expect one of them. Live failing to reach this player, but instead disoriented by the yokai. Allows Dota's time to live. There goes Lucat. Back to a 3v3 with just a little bit over a minute to go. Black Dragon's looking to close out this series.
It's crazy to see the value that Astro's getting out of those yokai drones now that he can actually use them and throw himself out of a window in the early part of the round. Live eventually cleans up onto Dudes. It was pretty much inevitable at that point. Astro and Raps now. They've got a lot of angles to hold here for only two of them. Their only saving grace is that there are only 3 Black Dragon members that are looking to bear down on them. They have plenty of flash utility. They still have a nade in pocket, so they gather a bit of information. They could try and make this a little bit easier for themselves. And with the clock ticking, drones need to get in there and really figure out what's going on. We can see that Freezer's fully reinforced here. Ask just threatening at the other side of the bar. We're almost certainly going to see a nade from Live come through, but no, Raps is in position to take him out. That adds to the heat. He gets caught inside of the Fenrir gadget. E1, they do collect.
Still up, right, fighting. I don't speak Portuguese, but I know that ponto decisivo means match point. You know why? Because I speak English and I see what it says in English.
See, this is the crazy thing, right? That's probably not what it means. It probably means like point decider or something.
Decisive point, yeah. Something
Decisive
like a
point,
literal
yeah.
translation, right?
Yeah, a little, yeah. Still, 6-4.
Honestly,
Kitchen working out for E1.
thank you for saying kitchen.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So where do we go? Well, we go to the mining bomb site. Very early on, we saw all 4 bomb sites get played, so it's not like this is new territory. Very first mining defense that we saw, or very first time we saw on mining, E1 not only got the first pick, they got diffuser down, they won the whole round all the way back in round number 3. This is a relatively familiar territory for them. Though they are the team that has seemingly not been the strongest. That's actually a very hard Valcam to see. Interesting. Break us down on this mining attack. Look at the lineup that is brought. I like the IQ that's being added to the mix for several rounds now. If you're going to have Sexy Cake on that Valkyrie ad nauseum, then you need to ensure you're finding the Valcams, but you've also got Mute Jammers, the Magnets, and the Dread Mines from Astro's Fenrir that you're going to be spotting. So a very, very good pick, because IQ counters basically everybody except for the Warden on defense. That's humongous. A lot of value.
All these electronics, eh? No one can just go back to good old-fashioned somethings.
It's that I don't know if you'll ever go on YouTube and you'll look up like a concert from like the 1960s and it'll be like, look at all these people enjoying this show in the moment. It's not a cell phone in sight.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wonder. What is Dota's going to do here on the window?
I
It could
hope
be
he
a
doesn't do
fly
it.
out with a shotgun ready to punish Black Dragons. Previous attempts to get early picks for E1 did not work out in their favor. Black Dragons ended up getting those 2 picks when E1 flew out of the windows, and then they used that their advantage to get that match point. There goes Stemp. Sexy Cake firing up. Is the cake ready?
He's going to need to do a little bit more than 3 and 9. But if the game continues, then maybe he'll be given his time. Nade that is going to be destined for Dudez is caught just prior by a Magnet. Live will see good on a kill over onto Lukid, but with Dudez and that shotgun at close range, it is able to dish out the finishing blow. Another nade is going to get sent through, but Dudez is doing a really good job of dodging around them so far. Top floor control gained. Air jabs to maintain that security, but now it's time to rip open that floor because you've got 45 seconds to try and make something happen here.
I'm very happy if I'm E1 in this instance. Obviously, there's still time for Black Dragons to sort this one out as they look to bring the diffuser over through reading. Dudez will retake. There goes the air jab. Live. Where are you going? What are you doing? What are you looking at? Sexy Cake has been dropped, so it's a 3v2. He's retrievable. Patoxy knows this. Look at, oh my! He gets it and the down collected as well. A 2v2. 10 seconds left. Raps looking to hold on, playing around this bomb chassis. They'll struggle to get in. Now it's try to save the round. We'll just waste time. Pre-fire. Oh my goodness, E1 wins it at the last second. They didn't think they'd won it. Did you see that? They had their hands on their headsets. They thought it might have been over. Oh my goodness.
A close shave there for both teams. E1, they're going to feel pretty happy about that. And overtime looks like a very real possibility now with a scoreline of 6-5. Black Dragons have struggled to convert onto winning round number 7 for a good number now. And Dudez, maybe a bit of an MVP of that round, particularly with the flank that he was able to achieve. It must have been a very sloppy air jab, is all I'll say, because he basically just shot the side of the railing and was able to delete that. Credit where credit is due for Astro. So the kill came through, but I believe because there was a down player and the time was still good, the defenders won. Is that what happened there?
I mean, we'd have to go to an instant replay. We had the same thing happen yesterday where Emmy and I were trying to figure out, did somebody actually bail off the plant or was it the impact grenade underneath them? From my view, I thought he got off the plant in yesterday's match because the impact did not look like it landed on where the diffuser was. Now, there is an interaction that, in all fairness, is not entirely consistent. If you are planting and you lose the floor underneath you, there are times where it will stop you from planting, but it is often incumbent upon most of the floor being destroyed. We went back to instant replay to try to figure it out, but we couldn't get good information on it. Same thing here. Was there a down? Was it earned? It looked like E1 were prepared to walk off the stage, but I mean, who knows? Now, one more round to send us to overtime. Black Dragons have been sitting on this precipice for quite a while. It was a 4-3 game. Black Dragons won 2 in a row, put themselves on series point. This is a seeding matchup, so it's not like it in their ability to go to the Atlanta Major, outside of the fact that you get a favorable seeding position in the last chance qualifiers. Though I will say, I got to give credit to these teams for playing it seriously. These types of games tend to become meme matches, and while that's okay for a broadcast and it's okay for us to see because it's lighthearted, well, it's sometimes nice to see teams investing in themselves, and so far both Black Dragons and E1 have been doing just that.
It's great to see, you know, as you've mentioned a couple of times, putting in the reps and, you know, really looking to practice in the correct way so that when, you know, the game has got higher stakes, you've got that experience and, you know, you've put yourself under a little bit of pressure. And both teams have done a great job of that here today, and that's demonstrated in the scorelines that we've seen. Neither team looking to roll over and make it easy. Looks like Stemp is going to start his approach now. He's very cautiously jiggling his way up so far and will now find himself on that pixel spot. Lukid going to be on the white stairs. Does have a magnet at his feet here for the inevitable nade that comes through, but that was a great headshot there from Stemp. A little bit of line of sight and perspective coming into play, just getting a glimpse. It will be immediately traded, however. Ask is lost in the exchange.
Now it's Astro over towards Laundry, this reading defense with most of the players from E1 in close proximity to the bomb site. Stemp still upstairs. We talked last game about how he was not the savior. It was Patoxy having an absolute ball. This time around, Stemp is back doing Stemp things, sitting at 13-5. We have not had a rehost in this map, so the score lines that you see are correct. There's no more addition that needs to be done. Only 20 seconds left. This round has flown by. It's do or die for E1, and Astro will die. Dodez taking some damage. Is this it? Did the comeback happen, all for it to fall apart? Dodez is down for the count now. Raps with 1 kill. 2 remaining players for E1. It's all up to Sexy Cake to clutch. He's been spectacular so far, but he's outfooled by Lorun. Black Dragons wins 2-0.
A very close final round there. There was a moment you thought E1 had a chance at staying in it. A lot of pressure coming down to Sexy Cake on that final exchange there. He was on the Echo. There was a chance he could have tried to